Hello, friends. Welcome to the fourth part of Current Affairs Compilation from January 2022. And today we'll be dealing with the topic agriculture, agricultural exports, sugar development fund, plant nutrition, purple or lavender revolution, saffron bowl project, J farm, grand challenge on onion storage, Asian palm oil alliance, one nation, one fertilizer, minimum support price, and codex alimentarius. These are the topics that we'll be discussing. So, without any further delay, let us move on to them, starting with agricultural exports. As per WTO's trade statistics, share of India's agricultural exports and imports in the world agriculture trade in 2017 was 2.27 percentage and 1.9 percentage. India's total exports have 11 percentage contribution from agricultural and processed food products. Among key agricultural commodities exported from India were marine products, basmati rice, buffalo meat, spices, non-basmati rice, cotton raw, oil meals, sugar, castor oil, and tea. USA was the largest export destination during 2020-21, and China was the second largest. Other major destinations were Bangladesh, UAE, Vietnam, and Saudi Arabia. The agricultural exports as a percentage of India's agricultural GDP has increased from 9.4 percentage in 2017-18 to 9.9 percentage in 2018-19. So just keep it in mind that the share of agricultural exports as a percentage of India's agricultural GDP. Okay, agricultural exports as a share of agricultural GDP is less than 10 percentage. Just keep it in mind like that. A comprehensive agricultural export policy has been brought in 2018 with a focus on agriculture export oriented production, export promotion, and synchronization within policies and programs of Government of India. Objectives are to diversify our export basket, destinations, and boost high value and value added agricultural exports, including focus on perishables, promote novel indigenous, organic, ethnic, traditional, and non traditional agri products exports, to provide an institutional mechanism for pursuing market access, tackling barriers, and dealing with sanitary and phytosanitary issues, to strive to double India's share in world agri exports by integrating with global value chains, enable farmers to get benefit of export opportunities in the overseas market. Clear, people? So, general points only, nothing specific here. Just go through it once, that's more than enough. Coming to the next topic, sugar. With the amendment of the Sugarcane Order 1966 in 2009, the concept of statutory minimum price of sugarcane was replaced with the FRP. The FRP is the minimum price that sugar mills have to pay sugarcane farmers to insulate them from increasing input costs. So, who is paying to whom? FRP is a price that sugar mills have to pay to sugarcane farmers. FRP is linked to a basic recovery rate of sugar with a premium payable to farmers for higher recoveries of sugar from sugarcane. It is determined on the basis of the recommendations given by the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, an expert body under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, and in consultation with state governments. Some states, including UP, declare SAP for sugarcane, considering the cost of production and productivity levels. The SAP is generally higher than the FRP. What is SAP? State administered prices. State administered prices. In exercise of the powers conferred by the Essential Commodities Act 1955, Center notified Sugar Price Control Order 2018, under which Center fixes the MSP after taking into account the FRP of sugarcane and minimum conversion cost of most efficient mills. MSP was introduced to ensure industry may get at least the minimum cost of production of sugar so as to enable them to clear cane prices due of farmers. At present, sugar is distributed at a subsidized rate of 13.5 per kilo to 2.5 crore families under the Antyodaya Anna Yojana. India's export subsidy includes Production Assistance Scheme, Buffer Stock Scheme, and Marketing and Transportation Scheme. The IEA report noted that ethanol demand in India tripled between 2017 and 2021, with consumption expected at 3 crore liter in the last calendar year. Why are we mentioning about ethanol here? Because from sugarcane, you do get what? Ethanol. Clear. So the idea here is, so when FRP, because FRP, or even take SAP also. So this is formulated by CACP, whereas this is formulated by state government, correct? And who has to pay this? Sugar mill owners have to pay this price to whom? To the farmers. Now, what is the issue here? The issue here is that these prices more or less are politically motivated. So the farmers actually get a good price. But what about the sugar mill owners? What will they do when they purchase the sugarcane at such high rates? How are they going to actually utilize it? How will they make money from? So that is the reason why the ethanol blending program is one source by which through which they can actually make money. So ethanol blending program again from 10 percentage limit it has been increased to 20 percentage. That is the most recent update. Sugar Development Fund. The restructuring of SDF rules, that is Sugar Development Fund rules, is aimed to facilitate rehabilitation of financially weak but economically viable sugar mills which have availed loans under the Sugar Development Fund Act 1982. SDF is being utilized presently to grant loans to sugar mills for facilitating the rehabilitation and modernization or baggage-based cogeneration power projects or production of anhydrous alcohol or ethanol from alcohol or conversion of existing ethanol plant into zero liquid discharge plant and development of sugarcane. The loans are provided at a concessional rate of 2% below the prevailing bank rate. Idea is what? To basically save the sugar mills and to encourage the production of ethanol. You are given loans at 2% less than the normal bank rate. A sugar factory that has been incurring cash losses continuously for the last 3 financial years, or sugar factory's net worth is negative, and the sugar factory is not closed, has not ceased to crush grain for more than 2 sugar seasons, excluding the current sugar season, is eligible to apply for restructuring. What are the solutions to actually make these sugar mills profitable? The National Policy on Biofuel 2018. The policy proposed a 20% target blending for ethanol by 2030. Previously, India had a 10% ethanol blending target for 2022. To raise its ethanol blending rate, the Indian government allowed sugar mills and distilleries to expand its feedstock from C-heavy molasses to include sugarcane juice, B-heavy molasses, and damaged food grains, and it has increased the ethanol procurement price. A tripartite agreement to ensure that enough ethanol is available to achieve this, government has helped the sugar industry with an innovative scheme. A tripartite agreement between sugar companies, banks, and the oil marketing companies. The banks fund ethanol capacity addition, and the money from ethanol sales will be used to repay the debt through a separate escrow account. However, the effectiveness of EBP's scheme, ethanol blending program, is being questioned by the experts due to following reasons. Sugarcane has to compete with other feedstock. Currently, feedstock competition for other alcohols is very strong, as portable liquors are very important sources of tax revenues in certain cane producing states. These state governments are not keen to see higher percentage of molasses being diverted to fuel ethanol production, and some control the use of molasses very strictly. So even though the sugarcane industry is generally supportive of ethanol and believes it could help resolve the sugar surplus, impact of ethanol may remain fairly limited. Export subsidy for sugar. Without subsidies, Indian exports are unviable as cost of producing sugar is way above the international sugar price. This was promptly contested by other countries in WTO. India has been allowed to continue with the subsidies till December 2023. Plant nutrition. The Food Corporation of India had laid down fertilizer-wise detailed specifications, and no fertilizer not meeting the said specification can be sold in the country for agricultural purposes. This is important. It lays down detailed procedure for sampling and analysis of each fertilizer. The Central Fertilizer Quality Control and Training Institute, Faridabad, and its 4 regional fertilizer control laboratories under the Department of Agriculture and Cooperation take samples of imported fertilizers at the discharge port for analysis thereof. The states also have their own state notified quality control laboratories that analyze samples taken from field as well as from the manufacturing plants. The nutrient-based subsidy scheme, which is a central sector scheme was launched in 2010 when the prices of phosphatic and potassic fertilizers were decontrolled. Prices of urea fertilizer, however, is still controlled. The maximum retail price of phosphatic and potassium fertilizer is decontrolled, and fertilizer manufacturers or marketers are allowed to fix the MRP at reasonable price. The center provides a fixed rate of subsidy on each nutrient. These nutrients include primary nutrients like nitrogen, phosphate, potash, and secondary nutrients like sulfur. Additional subsidy for micronutrients, namely boron and zinc, is also provided. 22 grades of P&K fertilizers, namely diammonium phosphate, monoammonium phosphate, etc., MOP, ammonium sulfate, SSP, and 16 grades of NPKs Nitrogen, phosphate, potash, and sulfur ammonium phosphate fertilizers are covered under the scheme. What about urea subsidy scheme? It's a central sector scheme. Urea is provided to farmers at a statutorily notified maximum retail price below their normal supply and demand based market rates or what it costs to produce or import them. The difference between the delivered cost of fertilizers at farm gate and net market realization by the urea units is given as subsidy to the urea manufacturer or importer by the government of India. So it also includes freight subsidy for movement of urea across the country. Subsidies given to the fertilizer manufacturing companies and the rate of subsidies decided on annual basis. From March 2018, a new so-called direct benefit transfer system was introduced, wherein only upon the sale getting registered on the e-Uravarak platform can a company claim subsidy. Purple or lavender revolution. Purple or lavender revolution was launched by the Ministry of Science and Technology through the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research Aroma Mission, which aimed at increasing lavender cultivation in J&K. Lavender cultivation is practiced in almost all the 20 districts of J&K. The crop, however, is native to Europe. Lavender water, which separates from lavender oil, is used to make incense sticks. Hydrosol, which is formed after distillation from the flowers, is used to make soaps and room fresheners. Aroma Mission is envisaged to bring transformative change in the aroma sector through desired interventions in the areas of agriculture, processing and product development for fueling the growth of aroma industry and rural employment. During phase 1 of the mission, CSIR helped cultivate 6,000 hectares of land and covered 46 aspirational districts. Phase 2 proposed to engage over 45,000 skilled human resources and benefit more than 75,000 farming families. Saffron Bowl Project. To expand saffron bowl of India, earlier confined to Kashmir, to parts of Northeast. Northeast saw the successful cultivation of saffron for the first time in Yangang village of South Sikkim. Under the project, Nectar has identified few locations in Arunachal Pradesh and Meghalaya for saffron cultivation. Sites identified in Meghalaya under the said project are Barapani, Cherrapunji, Mosami, Shillong, and Lalingtop. J. Farm. Punjab will be the first state in the country to provide digitized Form J in real time to farmers from this Rabi procurement season. J Form is the sale receipt of a farmer's agriculture produce in mandis, which acts as an income proof for a farmer who sells his crop. These forms were earlier issued manually by Artiyas, the commission agents. It can be used for raising finance, IT waivers, subsidy claims, farmers insurance, etc. It will act as a record of land under cultivation for both the wheat and paddy crops in the state. J forms can also be stored in Digi Locker. The grand challenge on onion storage. Department of Consumer Affairs, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution launched technologies for primary processing, storage, and valorization of onions through Grand Challenge on Onion Storage. The challenge is open to students, startups, and corporates to find solutions that reduce damage and bring down the prices of onion. 30 to 40% of onion is reportedly lost during storage. Hotspot. India's agriculture census has been conducted since 1970-71 in collaboration with states and union territories as part of a program of World Census of Agriculture or Food and Agriculture Organization. It is conducted every 5 years. According to the 10th agricultural census, small and marginal farmers accounted for 86.2% of all farmers but owned just 47.3% of the crop area. Asian Palm Oil Alliance. It is formed by the Apex Edible Oil Industry Associations of 5 major palm oil importing countries, including India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal. Solvent Extractors Association of India will manage its secretariat. Asia accounts for 40% of global palm oil demand, with India the largest importer, accounting for nearly 15%, 13 to 14 million tons. One nation, one fertilizer. Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Uravarak Pariyojana, One Nation, One Fertilizer scheme. The scheme aims at marketing fertilizers in the country under the Bharat brand name. Under the scheme, all subsidized soil nutrients, urea, diammonium phosphate, muriate of potash, and NPK will be marketed under the single brand Bharat. The uniform design of bags across the country will now mention the term as Bharat Urea, Bharat DAP, diammonium phosphate, Bharat monophosphate, Bharat NPK, and so on. This is applicable to all fertilizer companies, state trading entities, and fertilizer marketing entities. Scheme outlines the specifications of the new packaging for companies. The new Bharat brand name and PM BJP logo will cover two-thirds of the front of the fertilizer packet. The manufacturing brands can only display their name, logo, and other information on the remaining one-third space. There are three basic types of fertilizer used: urea, diammonium phosphate, and muriate of potash. Sorry, please make this correction here. It is not mono phosphate, it is muriate of potash. Urea is the most produced, the most consumed, and most imported. Fertilizer industry forms a part of the eight core industries under Index of Industrial Production. Government decides where manufacturers can sell their products under the Fertilizer Control Order 1973 issued under the Essential Commodities Act of 1955. Government is making available fertilizers, namely urea and 25 grades for P&K fertilizers to farmers at subsidized prices through fertilizer manufacturers or importers. Minimum support price. It is a price support mechanism that acts as a safety net given to the farmers to ensure guaranteed prices and assured markets for their products. MSP-based procurement system is aimed to save the crops from price fluctuations due to various unwarranted factors such as monsoon, information asymmetry, etc. MSP system was started in 1966-67 for wheat and was expanded further to include other essential food crops, which was then sold to the poor under subsidized rates under the public distribution system. It is fixed twice a year on the recommendations of CACP and then approved by CCEA. The CACP determines the MSP based on the expenses incurred by the farmer. Final MSP is determined as a function of expenses incurred, A2, and the imputed value of family labor. There have been demands for considering a different costing method. National Commission on Farmers, the Swaminathan Committee, had also recommended MSP should be at least 50% more than the weighted average cost of production. A2, which covers all cash and in-kind expenses incurred by the farmers on seeds, fertilizers, chemicals, hired labor, fuel, irrigation, etc. A2 plus FL, that is, actual cost plus imputed value of unpaid family labor. C2, A2 plus FL plus revenue foregone on owned land and fixed capital assets. This is how what is calculated. MSP is calculated. Codex Alimentarius. The Codex Committee on Spices and Culinary Herbs has finalized and recommended quality standards for nutmeg, saffron, chili pepper, and paprika and forwarded these proposed standards to the Codex Alimentarius Commission. Codex Alimentarius is international food standards, guidelines, and codes of practice contributing to the safety, quality, and fairness of international food trade. These food standards, removing guidelines and codes, helps on protecting consumer health and removing barriers to trade. Codex Alimentarius Commission is the body responsible for all matters regarding implementation of Joint Food and Agriculture Organization and World Health Organization Food Standards Program, basically FAO plus WHO. Membership of the Commission is open to all member nations and associate members of FAO and WHO which are interested in international food standards. The Commission meets in regular session once a year, alternating between Geneva and Rome, and works in the 6 UN official languages. India is the host country for Codex Committee on Spices and Culinary Herbs. And with that, we come to an end of this part 4. Hope you like the session. Any suggestions, please put it up in the comment section. Happy studying. God bless. Take care.